Well, good morning and welcome to episode 224 of Hobby Hotline. And that is our caffeine double espresso opening. So if you weren't ready already, hopefully that got you going. Glad to be joined by Tony and Adam today. How you guys doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
Fantastic. Adam, what's going on?
Living the dream, just creating content.
Heck yeah, that's what we're here for. You like the nice save at the end there. What wanted to hear what you guys your hobby week. I know Tony is going to talk about his studio today, and because he's got a much cooler day planned than I do. And Adam, kind of this past week, anything in the mail? Anything you've done hobby wise? Any shops?
No, not really. I mean, following kind of the Series 1 release, which we'll get into, some of the other kind of great news. For me, for the most part, a lot of the way that I do the hobby is actually like creating content. So for me, it's a lot of just monitoring kind of the everything that's going around social media, card releases, all that kind of stuff.
Well, we got a big news week with Top Series 1. Tony, your hobby week, what's going on?
Yeah, so I'm on location today. I'm here in Secaucus, New Jersey. I'm at the last
Reporting live in the field.
reporting live. Yeah,
Tony,
yeah,
can you give us the view on the ground there at the show?
yeah. I can give you the pulse of the show here. It was full. It's it was a little slow, but I think that's par for the course in this area where people show up a little late. So, yeah, man, it's full in there. So they're having a nice show. I think, like I said, it's called the Garden State Show or something like that. I forget the exact.
I believe it's the Garden State Parkway show, but if we're wrong, we're both friends with Laz. So Laz, we love you either way, and everybody knows what show we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's jumping in there.
I just being down in Baltimore, have not made the show personally yet. Have you been inside or been to this show? How big? Do you know how big it is?
It's this is actually my first out of state show since I've been back in the hobby. So yeah, it's a nice ballroom, and then they have people set up like about 5 or 6 tables in the foyer as well as a side room. I'd say there's a good amount of tables, nice traffic, and there's definitely money moving in there. I've seen some deals. I saw some deals start before the show even started, so those are always nice to see. Guys buying inventory. I saw a guy I guess he showed up with next to no inventory and just loaded up. Like, hey, I guess that's one way to do it. You don't have to carry it; just take it.
That's kind of brilliant. That might be the new way to do a show. Just bring cash, buy it from somebody, sell it over the weekend, and go home with nothing.
That's exactly what he did. He bought binders. I saw him buying boxes.
Awesome.
I saw him buying singles. He had some stuff, but a bulk of his inventory he bought minutes before the show started.
Well, I'm the schmuck who actually carries stuff around, so maybe I need a new plan. Real quick, want to give a shout out, as we always do, to Rex and the folks over at the shop at Moco, but very special today. So let's make sure we get this right here. So we have the sports card shop at Moco, but they've received an honor. So I want to give a shout out. Congrats. They were chosen as only one of 20 shops in the country selected to promote the Top Series 1 and the J-Rod Show. So shout out to Rex and Owen and everybody over there. That's just a real big honor. So I want to thank them as always. And I know they got us up on the big screen right now with everybody in there. So congratulations to them. And I think that leads us right into the big story. I mean, we've already kind of beat around the bush. Adam, Top Series 1 this week. Your thoughts. Did you open any? Have you seen any?
It's Series 1 is probably, I'd say it's probably like a top 5. Honestly, it might even be my favorite release of the year, just because you're rounding out you're bringing in the new year rookies for baseball. Your baseball's right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers also reported this week, which I think, the combination of, I've always thought that maybe they should release it earlier in the year, like in January. But I think, if they're trying to time it with pitchers and catchers reporting, I think that's really smart. I think that the two kind of the Series 1 release and then the Michael Rubin comments I think that they kind of tie in together for me, because I love the way that they rolled the product out this year. I feel like in years past, we've kind of seen like releases where there's just like one tweet about it. Like, I don't know, Panini sort of does this at sometimes. They used to do it more often. They do better, marketing, tweeting, all that kind of stuff around the product releases now. But I think in years past, we've seen like, Topps would put out the like it's in stores now tweet, and that would be the only thing you'd see. But like they've been rolling out for like 2 or 3 weeks now, like different things. Like, they released the full rookie checklist, which I think is huge because I think for some people, like they only really care about the rookies, and to have to go through the whole checklist itself, it's 300 cards long. The only way you could really tell in the past is like on the checklists, like, so, I think like Cardboard Connections has one. They put the RC next to the name, and it's not like in order by rookie cards or anything like that. So they released a bunch of the rookie card designs, so you kind of know what you're looking for. I think the one big change this year was the SP, I think, that they added to the back. I'm not 100% sure if that's with all of the short prints or if it's just with the gold parallel short prints, because I think in the announcement I remember seeing it was talking about the gold parallel short print that had the SSP on it. I'm not 100% sure if it's a change to the whole short print category for baseball, but I mean, for years it's like you had to like get your magnifying glass out and go like 10 times to see if it was a SP, and you never know. And now it's just on the card. Like, I've always thought that any short print, in my opinion, should be numbered. I think it should just be there shouldn't be guessing how many of these cards there are. Like, we've seen short prints in the past. Like, I know that they have done some cool ones. Like they did the polar bear one for Pete Alonso, I think, in like Topps Update like 2019 or 2020, with just like a picture of a polar bear and it was Pete Alonso. I thought that was pretty funny. So I think that they've been making some changes to their short prints, and I think that this is a great step in the right direction, in my opinion. Changing it from just the serial number on the back, which was like in the tiny fine print, to like making it a prominent thing on the card. Yeah, I mean, I love the way that they rolled it out. I mean, I think they've done a great job. I don't know. There was the rip parties that they had. I did like how they did it a couple years ago, where they had that like in person, and they had like a whole, like almost like a national with all the like breakers doing their breaks. I thought that was really cool. But I mean, overall, like I said, I love the way that they rolled it out, and it's one of my favorite products of the year, in my opinion.
Tony, I think you and I both agree that we like the same thing Adam was talking about, with a little clarification. As some guys who grew up with much less image variations and SSPs, it's gotten out of hand. What do you think about the labeling?
Yeah, I like that. At least, like Adam said, it takes the guessing game out of it, so it's kind of cool to see that. I would like to see that's a good idea to have them numbered, but take the guessing out of it. But I don't know. Then does it become a Nah, I don't know, but yeah, I would like to see it numbered like that. But at least they're taking a step in the right direction with labeling it, so that's cool. I don't collect it, but just reading about it, and I want to ask you guys. I mean, I guess there's always the negative and the positive, but apparently the print run is rather large. Yes, no. I mean, that seems to be the running joke online.
Well, can I quote you as we started the show?
Sure.
You asked me if they were still printing them as we were ready to get on air, I don't believe that's far off. The numbers I saw, forgive me for not sourcing this properly, but I thought we were looking at about 1 million print run for base cards, and that would be triple what it was 5-6 years ago, to show how quickly that number's gone up. So if you didn't lift through junk wax, guys, welcome to junk paper. It is it's crazy when you start thinking about that. Pop counts. I mean, if grading prices ever come back down, you're going to see so much base paper graded. It's unbelievable. Adam, what do you think of that?
Well, I think Series 1 in general is supposed to be a product that you can just find easily no matter what. Like, I think I think the main difference between like this era and then like the junk wax era, like the 90s, is there weren't you were really kind of looking at like a lot less products. So it's like Series 1, in my opinion, has lost a little bit of its luster when it comes to, if you're looking to buy a card and investing. And I know people hate that word, they hate hearing that word, but like if you're looking to invest in base rookies, Series 1, Series 2, Topps Update, unfortunately nowadays really is not what you like. If you're looking for a cheap, good base card that's kind of fun to collect. I think Series 1 and, just in general, the flagship products is a really great product. And like I said, I'm okay with there being a lot of them. Unfortunately, I think I would kind of wish that there maybe was a little bit less, but at the same time, like, I do like that you're able to just find this product whenever you want to. Like, that was kind of one of the weird things, like, we saw when the Target shelves and all that kind of stuff, like even flagship product was unfindable. Like, it was crazy. So like, I think now that they're kind of running the printers for this product. And one other thing for flagship, in my opinion, I think that they should cut it down to Series 1 and Series 2. And I know that they've done the 3 series throughout kind of the history, like in the past, like, few decades. But I just think that they should do 2 series of the product. Like, they should have the Series 1 that has, the rookies from the beginning of the year. And then they should come out with, at the end of the year, they should come out with either Series 2 or update or whatever they would want to call it for that one. And there, just maybe expand that checklist a little bit and really only do 2 product releases, and then keep the printers running for both of these products, I guess, if that makes sense. I think that they should just reduce the amount of flagship products they're releasing, which, again, that would then probably increase the print run. But either way, I just think flagship is kind of the type of product that's like that, in my opinion.
I mean, I miss when you had the set came out. We don't need Series 1, Series 2. You had the set, and then you had Topps Update.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night. Tip your waitress. Like, I understand they're trying to create, I don't know, momentum, excitement, over and over, but you can release the flagship any way you want. You can release low numbers, high numbers, but that set should be available to be bought classically, like every set is, your flagship set. And then, of course, guys get called up during the year. Collectors know that. Nobody's surprised that you missed a September call up back in, February when you made the cards. That's why you have update. And I don't know, that to me seems like a much simpler approach. Tony, do you think it's gotten out of hand from the days of, just having the set and the update?
A little bit, but now that I think about it, with Adam saying that, like, it is kind of nice to have it available. And my thinking goes back to kids when they go to Target. It's there. At least they can grab it and be introduced into the hobby. So, maybe it's not a bad thing in the sense of curating new collectors. But obviously, if you're after low pop counts, this isn't it. But I do like the way that they're rolling out I guess we'll talk to that in the next topic with the promotion of it, though. That's kind of cool, the stuff that they got going on. Like, I can totally get behind that. Like, I saw in the comments, the rip parties and stuff like that. It's cool. It's, a little something different. But yeah, overall, it's like a catch-22. You want those low print runs, but then you also want to have the product, so you can't really have it both ways there.
All right, and just to clarify for Rex, 14 breakers were given Series 1 to break a day early with silver packs, and 20 shops were given the J-Rod show swag and to promote their shops. So that's what they were able to get. Good on them, and that's how they're able to do the Series 1 rip party. And theirs is tomorrow. So all the shops are throwing that. So if you're anywhere near the sports card shop at Moco, good on them. Local card shops, I know we all know how important they are, and I think we all support our local card shop. So we'd like to see that. Good morning, Michael. Horrible idea. I believe that was at me for my flagship product and update. I can handle that because it's a fantastic idea. So we're just going to agree to disagree. I want Series 1, 2, and update. They should super short print number of complete sets. That's an interesting idea. Philly Joe. Don't know if I agree, but that's just kind of a different view of that. I hadn't thought about that before. So real quick, did you guys, or are you planning to just break some Series 1, just kind of like an opening day tradition or anything like that?
For me, no. I don't
No interest.
No. Yeah, no interest. Unfortunately, just like, I know my baseball game has fallen off tremendously. Like, other than the Phillies, I like got, and some of the superstars. Like, I mean, that was the first sport I grew up on. But yeah, as a whole, it's tough to watch. I'll be honest. It's just, unless I'm with Danny running the single A circuit, which there's a little bit, it's a lot more tolerable when there's adult beverages, hot dogs, mascots hitting me over the head, stuff like that. It's cool, but as far as me sitting and watching the game, it's tough, and it reflects in my collecting. So.
I will say that I do like buying one hanger pack and breaking it with my kids. It's kind of like a spring, it's kind of like let the weather turn. We don't need Puxatawny Phil. We just break a couple packs and see what happens. How about you? How about you, Adam?
Yeah, I might try and find like a hobby box or like get a couple blasters. Like I just remember my one story, like when I was first getting back into the hobby, I remember I bought a Series 2 2019 hobby box. That was the one that had the Tatis, Alonso, Eloy Jimenez, and then the Vlad short print. That came out that came out the day of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final when the Bruins blew it at home to the St. Louis Blues. So it's kind of like it was a great day, but also like a day where I sat in front of my TV, like how do we lose another Game 7 at home in the Stanley Cup finals? Like, but either way. And then actually from that set, I actually pulled a 1-of-1, I think it was a letter Alex Bregman card. And I sold that, right before the National that year. So that actually funded like a couple of the purchases I made of the National. So, I mean, like I said, it was a very much a roller coaster of emotions, opening that box and seeing what came out. And then, next thing you know, it's the Bruins are losing in games. It's I'll probably get a hobby box. And especially now that, prices have kind of come down on those hobby boxes. Like a couple years ago, you were looking at like almost $200 for one of those. Like if you can find them for, I actually don't know what the prices off the top of my head would be. I'm sure they're probably in the $70 to $90 range. I think that's much more affordable. That's what, I think back then, 2019, I think I got the box for like $65, which is kind of crazy, especially with, looking back and seeing who the rookies that were in that Series 2 product. But, either way, I probably will grab some product to open.
So between the three of us, we're like, three little pigs, small, medium, large here. Okay. I kind of like this comment here from Steven. Topps Baseball has always been enjoyable rips for collectors. Numbered cards of your favorite players are not hard to come by. Rookies galore for young collectors. Has a bit of everything. I will say I agree with the fact that it's, not everything can be national treasures or stuff like that.
Right.
So there is something that I like that the hobby rallies around a base product, if that makes sense. I don't know if other than maybe Prism NFL or Prism NBA, if there's another set that the hobby kind of universally looks forward to, or a lot of the hobby looks forward to. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something, and somebody will let me know in the comments. Real quick, the image variation pictures. They've done what was it, 330 of them this year. How do you guys feel about the actual image variation pictures themselves, the alternate picture? Because I've said it before, it's not my favorite insert. I don't like it. I don't need to see Wander Franco in the mascot's head. That does nothing for me. Somebody else I saw was wearing a chicken head. None of that resonates with me personally. I know people get a kick out of it. Tony, does it if it was done in other sports? If it was done, not even baseball. Do you like it? Does that do anything for you?
Definitely doesn't do anything for me. It's funny, but yeah, I mean, it's whatever. Right? It's a gimmick. I get it. I think it's to attract maybe I don't know, younger collector maybe or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, it's something that I wouldn't be falling over myself to go find a Philly Fanatic head Bryce Harper. It might be cool, but it's just something I'm not gonna go too crazy about.
Well, you said it might be cool. Billy Joel said you may be right, you may be wrong, you may be you may be crazy. So, Adam, what do you think about the pictures?
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. I think it's like a social media thing. Like it's kind of supposed to be like a little bit of, I think it's like a gag in my opinion. Like it's supposed to be like a thing you put on social media. Like, oh, look at this crazy card that I pulled. I mean, if it helps, maybe some new people get into the hobby because they want to, buy the Pete Alonso polar bear, or they want to buy the Philly Fanatics Bryce Harper, or the Wander Franco with the head. I mean, I think it's a cool insert. It's not necessarily something that I think hypothetically, if you're looking for value in that type of card long term, I don't think it really holds. I think you're going to find probably better value in like the numbered base card, or like the gold, or the rainbow parallel that they have within that set. I think that's I like those more than I like necessarily some of the image variations. But I think it's something they kind of add something for everybody in those types of sets.
Yeah, I Ziggy makes the comment, is Kaboom a super short print mascot card? I do think, and God, this is going to sound so pretentious. I think there's something about whether or not a card looks good, and I think Kaboom, and some of the other sports, even My House or stained glass. I mean, there's just so many other ones that are just aesthetically such a better looking product than the image variation to me. And once again, if somebody has seen a cool image variation of a baseball in Series 1 that I haven't seen, I am open to look, to see it if there's one that somebody finds attractive. But
hey, Danny, real quick, it's not pretentious if you say it while you're wearing a jacket, so you're good.
Well, but if you do it with a baseball card T-shirt on underneath,
yeah, but so you got the whole classy street, you got the whole thing going on there.
All right, you want me to peel back the curtain a little bit?
Sure.
Adam saw me in a slightly different outfit, probably 10 minutes before the light went on to go live here. So this might be a Saturday morning. How do we call it? Cover scramble. Just so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, as long as you're not sitting there in your boxers as well, I think we should be good.
I plead the fifth. Moving, I would say moving on, and just catch up on some of the good mornings here. And you know what, Ziggy made the comment. I wanted to bring this up about he had to get all his base cards graded now from Top Series 1. SGC, very interesting again, is running another modern grading special. So they did this with Chrome, and clearly they are trying to build their reputation, the secondary market, or with their name around modern cards. Just touch on that real quick. If you guys saw SGC as a modern product more and more, maybe you are already comfortable, but is that something that you think is good for them to build that modern market, Tony?
I do, because right now I just consider them to be a vintage product. I'll be honest, when I see their slab cards, modern cards in their slab, I tend to just shy away from them. So I can get behind that. You got to start somewhere. So it's otherwise, you can just kind of be pigeonholed into that whole thing. And with all the new stuff coming out, vintages, you can always slab so many vintage cards. So at some point, you got to dive into that modern thing. So I think it's a good idea to do that.
Adam?
Yeah, it's interesting because I thought that Fanatics had a partnership with CGC, so I guess it's interesting to see them working with a different grading company. Maybe it's something that was set up like a few years ago or something, but I don't know. I mean, I think it's fine. Like $9 to get your card graded. I think value versus the card grading company, I think, is actually pretty solid. Like I think SGC, in my opinion, has definitely become a better grading card service over the past few years. Like the way that I think I've described it is like, I think SGC has done more to get themselves in the conversation for a top 3 grader than BGS has really done to kind of stay in that conversation, if that makes sense. Like I still think it's PSA, BGS, SGC. You could kind of, you could flip flop any of those, I guess, if you really want to. Like, I think those are the top 3 right now, but I think SGC has kind of not really come out of nowhere, because like they were doing a lot of vintage stuff, but like has definitely jumped into that top 3 conversation, like solid, like not sort of in that sort of realm with kind of some of the other random grading card companies nowadays. So I don't know. I think it's a cool offer, and I think it's interesting. We'll see sort of how the partnership evolves, if they do, anything else along the way. Like maybe, because also Topps has had a partnership sort of with PSA with the like Bowman X product that they came out with a couple years ago. And I don't know if they released it last year, but I know like the Vlad Jr. rookie year, and then I think the 2020 rookie class had the Bowman X, which were pre-graded PSA cards within like a Bowman X box. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's interesting to see sort of Topps and what they're doing in the grading world.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think that we will be definitely seeing the grading card companies looking for a different way to compete with each other. I mean, you can't just say, hi, we're another grading company. You got to do something proactive, unless you're PSA, and then you can kind of do what you want. But the turnaround time on SGC, there's something to be said for their turnaround time versus PSA, even when PSA does their collectors club specials and stuff like that. So that's just my 2 cents. We have, it looks like this might be a bot, but shameless plug. John Newman will be at Gideon's Gallery tonight at Trade Night talking SGC bulk subs. If you are in the central New York area, come on out. All right. So I think John will also be signing autographs, but no pictures, and it's one per person.
Hey, do you guys think we get more Top Series 1 cards printed or more? Which one has more? More Top Series 1 print run or no, the hobby partnerships?
You talking about corporate partnerships or content creator partnerships, Tony?
No. Well, that too, but no. We got. Yeah, I think we're in competition with corporate sponsorships.
Okay.
Man, every time I turn around, it's like another one.
Well, my question actually, when Adam brought that up, is I wonder how much Topps actually has to agree to that deal for SGC to say it's discounted. I wonder how much Topps really has say in that, because that's an aftermarket thing. They're not selling the Topps product. You're bringing it to them already purchased. If I'm Topps, I'm getting out of the way. I'm not paying any money and saying, sure, take the free advertising. So, I wonder if that's kind of the SGC angle, Adam, to your point of, maybe they're just happy for the free advertising.
It's probably a little bit different, but like a couple of years ago, and I don't know, I'm not 100% sure if they still do this, but like the Patriots and Dunkin' Donuts used to partner together, and like after the Patriots won, you could get like 87-cent or 85, I forget, 87-cent coffees or something, and it was like Gronkowski was like the promoter, so I'm sure there's some sort of, if I had to guess, the Patriots probably were paying for X amount because they knew that there would be X amount of people that were going to come in and get the coffees. I think it used to be like free for a medium coffee after the Patriots won or something like that. They realized there probably weren't. Once the Patriots went like 18-0, they were like, we can't keep doing this. We got to figure a different strategy or whatever. But 18-1, I guess, whatever. But
nobody's still holding on to that. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, I want to move on, but just to say, I some people in the comments wondering why we love SGC. The customer service, in my experience, has been great, and the turnaround times have been great. I will say, if PSA could match the pricing and the turnaround time, I think it would change a lot of people's opinions, and really, we'd have the grading wars would be at full blast. But Michael Rubin, want to move on to him, and rarely do I really want to talk a ton about him, but he actually came out and said stuff this week. Did either one of you hear his comments?
Yep.
Tony,
Yep.
What was the gist of kind of what he was getting across? He was on somebody else's podcast talking about the hobby, if I get this correct.
Correct. Yeah, correct. He was actually on the Full Send podcast, which is geared towards younger males. So for him to be talking, it was an origin story. Then I didn't see all of that, but I watched the part about the hobby. And once he got to talking about collectibles, those guys have a lot of buying power, that age group. They buy a lot of content. They subscribe to all kinds of stuff. So for him to start plugging the hobby there, I thought that was cool. And just some of the stuff he was talking about, like right now, a lot of that demographic is influenced by influencers on Instagram, Twitter, all kinds of stuff. So he's talking about, we're going to do more in this year than has been done for the hobby in the last 7. We'll see what that means. I don't know exactly what that all means. I mean, I know that I'm not going to buy cards because Kim Kardashian thinks that Prism is the thing to buy, but maybe somebody will if that's the angle that they're going to go for.
Is she the one that promoted Fire Festival?
I think that was like one of her sisters or something like that. But
Yeah,
I
I'm sure.
lose track because that one I don't trust. I don't want the Fire
Yeah.
Festival one.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see Kim's PC before I'll take advice.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if it's going to go that far. I mean, I guess we'll get into a little bit more of what he's going to do. But just by him putting it out there, I thought it was cool. It's like, let's get the word out. And I always say, man, the more people in the hobby, the better.
Yep. Adam.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, I totally 100% agree with that. The more people in the hobby, the better. I think I'm going to try and not go completely crazy with my thoughts. I have a couple different things that I want to that I think about this. Like, I think one of the things that he said that I actually 100% agree with is that like the hobby hasn't really been marketed, if that makes sense. Like, I think that's one of the things he was saying. Like, he was saying that cards became popular almost by accident, which is something that I agree with. I mean, I know a lot of people will say that's not true, but I think honestly, like, the card companies themselves, like, we're in such a unique industry, in my opinion, that like the this industry has gotten it has to be the industry that's gotten the most free promotion from its consumers of any other industry ever. Like, because the big card accounts, there's big social media people, there's all this type of things. They're talking about cards. So it's like the card companies themselves, like, some of them probably are paying influencers to talk about the stuff, but it's like, for the most part, over the past few years, like, and even, you look at people who have been in the hobby since 2013 and like even probably before that. I'm just talking like when kind of social media started growing and becoming more popular. The amount of impressions and likes and all that kind of stuff that the card companies are getting from people posting on social media it's got to be in the multi-millions of dollars, like, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, in my opinion. Like, that's free marketing for these card companies that they're not really having to spend. And it could actually also be a reason why, like, for the most part, like, I think Topps has done a good job over the past few years, and Panini has done a fine job over the past few years of sort of growing their social media presence. But I could see that being a pretty significant reason why we hadn't seen any of these card companies really take social media seriously, is because they look at it and they say, why do we need to do social media when everyone else is already doing our social media for us? Like, because that's kind of one of the things with like influencer marketing and just in general, like, from social media. Like, nowadays, like, think about the last time you bought something online. Was it because you watched a commercial on TV, or you saw an ad in the newspaper, or it's because you saw someone talking about it on social media? Like, that's kind of how I view cards. And I guess my other thought is, like, I just wonder overall, what is Fanatic's ultimate goal within sports cards? Like, is it to sell the licenses in, like, 5-10 years, something along those lines? Or is it like, where Fanatics kind of came in and they sort of took over the memorabilia purchasing sort of space? They almost became like the ticket master of like sports memorabilia. Like, every big any sport, any jersey, any licensed thing, you're kind of buying from Fanatics. So I'm just wondering, like, where, like, do they want to make the hobby better because they want to make it better, or do they want to make it, or do they want to grow it because they want to make more money? I think it's a combination of both, in my opinion. But I just hope, I don't know what, like, I think I think Tony said it well there too. Like, we don't know exactly what he even means by saying, like, we're going to do stuff in the hobby that no one's ever done before, stuff along those lines. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on him in general and kind of the stuff that he was talking about.
Well, a couple of thoughts. First of all, Disney World tries to make it as fun as possible to make money. So, if I'm enjoying a roller coaster, I know that they're profiting on me, but I'm okay for the exchange because I'm having fun too. But then, we talk about, I think one of Michael Rubin's biggest points is, as we've talked about, the lack of marketing that's been done in the past in the hobby, and him with Fanatics really being very targeted data marketing experts. And Philly Joe, I've seen a lot of Top Series 1 advertising on the MLB Network, commercials, and the network had a segment of opening packs and boxes. Yeah, I think that's part of the whole the new Fanatics world. Don't forget, the leagues themselves have a financial interest in the licensing and the company with Fanatics and the top. So, you're going to see a lot more of those partnerships. And to Tony, to your point, before about these corporate partnerships, I mean, Fanatics literally has investors in NFL, NBA, and MLB own part of the company. So, it doesn't, I mean, that's not even a partnership. That's just straight out, being in business together. And so, you wonder, is that a good thing for the hobby to have it on MLB Network? Can I get mad at that? Or is that a good thing, Tony?
Yeah, I can get mad at it. I mean, like you said, the more exposure, the better. But I mean, just like you said, the commercials running on MLB. That's probably obviously influenced by him. Was that ever running before in the last series?
Not that I remember. Yeah, not that I remember.
Exactly. So you can kind of already see the thumbprint being pushed, and that's okay. Get the word out. Let's get more people in here, and let's get this party going.
I think too, like the sports cards in general is sort of in this like type of industry where like we've seen over the past few years, like niche industries that were kind of viewed as like weird, as one way to put it. I guess it's not the word exactly, I would say, but it's like, streetwear, anime, video games, streaming, like video editing, all of these industries, or like hobbies, and I guess you call them hobbies as well. Like 10 years ago, they were sort of like, I don't know. I don't really want to put it in like one. I guess weird is one way to put it. I don't really necessarily think that's the correct term, but like I think that those types of industries have come much more into the forefront and have become almost part of popular culture. And I think just like in general, like those types of industries nowadays, like I said, they're much cooler, I think, than they were like 10 years ago. So I guess it's going to be interesting to see sort of what their ultimate plans are with like their marketing strategy. Because too, the other thing that I'm thinking about is like the past, maybe let's just say past since 2019, the amount of people that have gotten into sports cards probably got into sports cards because they wanted to make money. And I think that audience of people isn't necessarily in the business of trying to grow the hobby. They're just in it to try and kind of make their money and maybe get out, or make their money and sort of sustain. So I guess it's going to be interesting to see sort of what their strategy is to, if they're going to put a strategy towards maybe finding more of those people, or like who's the audience, I guess, is maybe my other question of like who they're trying to market products to. Cause like, there's no way, I would say, if you're a sports fan over the past few years, there's no way that you didn't hear about sports cards or see the astronomical sales we had. So I guess I'm going to be interested to see what audience they're also targeting. And if also just, sorry, one last thing, if Series 1 was, if their marketing was done by Fanatics, then I like the direction that they're going. I think it probably was, if I had to guess, just because I think that this new year they're rolling out some of the new Fanatics stuff for Topps. So if Fanatics is the one doing the marketing, I'm a big fan of what they're doing. But like I said, if they change course, we'll have to see sort of what their plan is.
Absolutely. And evidently, according to the chat, Tony and I are doppelgangers, which
Sweet.
as clearly you have not met us in person. Tony is much better looking than I am, and I guess even though I wear a blazer, I still look like you, Tony. So you got to sit with that for a couple hours and think about that.
Nice. I'm gonna go in there and tell everybody I'm Danny Black.
Nah, that won't help you at all. So just want to respond to some of the comments. I Double D Vintage. Growing up, every kid in my neighborhood collected cards, and it brought us all together to trade. I think that's what we're really talking about. I think as collectors, it's nice to have something to share. That's not the elite, higher price. Always out of reach type of product. I don't want everything to be such a competition, so grade sensitive, all about the flip, all about the sell. you made the comment, Adam, that a lot of people came in, for investment purposes, during the pandemic. I think that was natural because prices were just on a rise. It was easy money for people, whether it's crypto or anything else. People are attracted to casinos, for quick money. But I do think a lot of people who came back into the hobby have stayed and have evolved out of that. And I think, Tony, I know you've had an involvement over the last couple of years. So would you say that kind of the pandemic piqued your interest, then you evolved out of that?
Yep, 1,000%. I would say, like, the ones who are still here I think we're here for a while, and we keep evolving. I'm pretty cemented into the hobby. I mean, hell, I'm at a show right now. So, yeah, for sure. Everybody, not everybody, obviously, there's a lot of people, but the ones that are still here, I think, are here for the long haul. So now you've got a new batch of collectors. Now you've got, like Adam said, I don't know who they're targeting. We'll see. So if you get a couple of those people to stay, now we just keep growing and growing and growing, and it's a good thing. I'm hoping to see those stadium exclusives. I always say that. I want to see something. I know that they talked about maybe putting card shops in some stadium stuff, but I would love to see stadium exclusives. Helps attendance, helps the hobby. It's like a win-win for me.
Oriole Park is actually going to have a Fanatic store. Now, they have not talked about what that means. Is it merchandise 100%? Fanatics even has some cards with their own slabs on them, as like an authentic card. So I don't know if they're going to be crossing into actually selling hobby boxes when I go to an Oriole game, or am I just buying jerseys from them, through their own store? So I'm very curious. I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, like a little limited run of special Oriole cards in Oriole,
exactly,
stuff like that. That'd be crazy.
Sorry.
Just a few. No,
Cards says, morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a great day. Philly Joe, I agree with a lot of what you say, but I don't think that kids only care about the money. As a father of 3, and Tony's met my son at the show, we have an absolute blast.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, we do. And actually, Tony's seen me at a show. Guys, I spent a lot more time sitting off to the side while my son goes around having fun than you might realize.
Yeah, I know. That's it. Real quick, like, just seeing that's awesome to me, man. He's in his room and in the room, and he's having a blast. Like, you can't beat that, man. Like, you really can't. It's like, whatever. If it was $10 to get in, a kid, you can't do that at an amusement park. Like, you're paying a lot of money, and you're standing in line. The kid's hungry. He's mad. And this, like, man, that kid's buzzing around that room having the time of his life, making more money than his dad. So that was cool.
Well, that's not hard, but I've been taking him to shows since he was young, and I think you and I talked about it that day. You want to talk about interpersonal skills, and Adam, this. It's negotiating, it's math, it's reading. There's so much involved, and I had to let him fail on a couple deals. I had to help him on some others, but I think it's a great education. And this is not about spending a lot of money. We're joking. My son's into Pokemon. A big deal for him might be $40. But to him, the whole week leading up to the show, and then the whole ride back after the show, so thank you, Tony. I think we all believe in keeping kids and the family, involved in the hobby. And then another one, Chris Harris, on my way to the Secaucus show.
Oh, there you go. Hurry up. It closes at 4.
There, right, exactly. All right. So Michael Rubin, I think in general, from what we've heard so far, the most impressive thing to me, and just to wrap this up, is that they've made a conscious effort, I think, to get a lay of the land before they started making any changes. Are all hobbyists and collectors going to agree with everything they do? No, not at all. And so, I think trying to get the lay of the land. I
was going to say, if there's one thing that people in the hobby hate, it's change. So I would expect that this is probably any change, you're going to find people complaining about it on social media. And I think one of my last point here too is, like, be careful who you're listening to on social media. Cause I've been making content within cards since 2018. And I've literally gotten this comment since I was all throughout the pandemic, all since before, all after, you get the comments, the hobby's dead. No one does cards anymore. It's like, you don't have it. You have no idea what you're talking about. Go to any show. The amount of shows has grown over the past few years, and they're always busy. And I think the great part about cards is, it's one way for, kids, if they want to start some sort of business. It's a great way to learn about business, because like if you go to card shows, it's networking, it's like you said, negotiating, buying and selling, trying to figure out your way around the show. I think that there's a lot of great business things within cards that's not just buying and selling too. I think that's one other great thing about the hobby.
All right, well, Tony, did you have anything to add to that?
No, that's spot on.
All right. I'm going to bring in Ziggy here and talk to Michael for a second.
Hey,
Michael,
guys.
how are you?
Doing well. Can you hear me, first of all?
Yeah, Michael, can you hear me, first of all?
I can hear you. I can. I'm just driving in traffic.
Michael, you've engineered on StreamYard, haven't you?
I have.
You have. Sometimes it's hard to see and click and get to everything right away.
It is. It absolutely is.
It is. So, sorry I didn't respond quite as fast as you wanted me there, too, but I'm glad we got you on here.
Well, no problem, Danny. And let me just be clear. First of all, I love the show, love what you guys are saying, but I think there's definitely dissenting opinions. And big ones that definitely are getting squashed by influencers, starting with SGC. SGC, guys, I love sports cards, but SGC has done zero innovation. They still don't authenticate autographs, which makes them the number one place I would send fake Series 1 autographs to if I was going to grade Series 1 fake autographs, because they're not going to look at them and they're going to fast grade it.
Sure. Ziggy, right? I understand.
So I think about the vulnerabilities.
Ziggy, I think what a lot of people are talking about is when you look at the number of cards actually being graded. When we talk about the company
but time out. But here's my point, guys. We should be more talking about the influencers. SGC does a great job of paying influencers. There's more influencers in the SGC payroll than any other creating company, and I don't like PSA. Okay, but at least PSA, you know who theirs are because they're employees.
Who do you grade with, Ziggy?
You see what I'm saying? So why don't we, the hobby, push back at SGC and say, hey, guys, why don't you get that registry worked on? Why don't you stop on the $9 grading trick and invest in authentication of autographs? Again, I'm just being a little angry right now. The second thing, when it comes to the fanatics piece, guys, everybody, I can't stand this topic of let's grow the pie. Let's get more people in. Let me be the first to say, and I've said it before, no. Didn't that fail in 2020 when we brought a bunch of people in? To me, it seems like there's a lot of people who are here in 2020 are like, well, now I'm smarter. I'm going to feast off the next people who come in.
Ziggy,
like, guys, I'm a little angry right now because there's no voice to that.
Ziggy, can you hear me? Ziggy, can you hear me?
I can, but I'm losing your signal, man.
Okay, then I'm going to drop you and I'll let you listen. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, guys, pay attention to everything we say. I think it's real easy to grasp onto maybe something and take it way too far. I don't think anybody on here is shilling for one grading company or another, and I think I specifically said that if PSA would get the turnaround and the pricing down, I think everybody would be with PSA. So
I just address this
buddy.
thing about more people.
Please,
I couldn't disagree more. Like I personally am not here to rip anybody off. Yeah, I mean, so like to say, "Oh, we're gonna feast on the next group." I couldn't disagree more. Z is cool. I respect his takes and all that stuff, but yeah, I'm not with that, man. I'm like, if I'm at a party, I don't have any problem with more people coming to the party. Who am I to say no? You stay out. Like, what are you talking about? So,
and to me, expanding also doesn't have to mean a bad thing. The fact that my son can buy cards at Target at a reasonable price, has expanded the market, and I got no problem with that. So, we'll just have to agree to disagree on that. And now we can finally move on to talking about the NBA and the peak time of year. And one of the reasons I brought it up is NBA card prices seem to be getting exciting. We're heading into, that time of year where we're heading down the zone, with the trade deadline done. The All-Star break's not really mid-season in the NBA. So I think, if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 20 to 30 games left for a lot of the teams.
Yeah.
So, I guess the question is are you guys the same amount of fans of the NBA all year? Or are you more of a fan once football season has ended and before baseball season, gets started?
Yeah, for me, definitely after football. Now I'll start paying attention a lot more. I watch now. I watch the Sixers and all that good stuff, but not not to the extent that now I'm really going to be concentrating on them. Now I'll really be, complaining when Embiid takes a night off when I feel he shouldn't. So that, because the NFL is such a monster. It just consumes for me. It just consumes my whole week. Like it's NFL waiting for NFL and rinse repeat. So now I definitely will be more into the NBA. I'm excited to see I know the dunk contest tonight has a bunch of weird people in it, which means but you know what though, Adam? Like since expectations are so low,
maybe it'll be good.
Be amazing. Yeah.
I mean, the Mac McClung guy, he is a really good dunker and he is really flashy. So maybe he's going to come out with something crazy. I don't have high hopes for it. I think I don't. Maybe it's a hot take, but it could be the last dunk contest if they can't get any. If they're having G League players, what's the point of even? What's the point? That's kind of my. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but go ahead.
No. You're 1,000% because I'm like, this is either going to be really good or really like. That's why I'm like, okay, the expectations are super low. You can't like if it stinks. Well, we thought it was going to stink. So
right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So check out my idea for a rule for the dunk contest next year. You can only do a dunk that's been done before. Stop making them come up with stuff that sucks.
Yeah,
okay?
Right.
I want to see somebody else try it from the free throw line. Let me see what you got. Go back and look at what Dominique Wilkins did. Go back and look at what Vince Carter did. Show me you can put your elbow around the rim. I think there would be something cool, and it would be almost a tribute, to the guys. Throw on the pumps.
Yeah. Well, when they've done that,
the D Brown pumps.
When they've done that in the past, some of the guys, it goes over like crazy with the crowd. Like when they put on the jersey, do stuff like that. So maybe. Yeah, I don't know. At some point, you run out of ideas. I know that there are people who are professional dunkers who don't, do that stuff, but don't play, but can dunk the heck out of the ball. So, yeah.
If you told me like 5 years ago that I'd be more interested in the home run derby than the dunk contest, like I probably would have thought you were crazy, but I think that the MLB home run derby is doing exactly what the dunk contest needs to do. They need to get their young stars, not random eighth men off the bench that can just dunk really well. They need to get the young stars in there. And I don't know, I'm not sure when the dunk contest became so not popular by the players, but when it was like Jason Richardson and Vince Carter and I think probably what happens next year is I think that this one's going to be bad. And then I think next year we're going to have LeBron, Giannis, it's going to be some sort of crazy thing with a bunch of the big players are going to do it because the NBA is going to, I don't know, pay them or something. I don't know what they need to do to get the players in the dunk contest, but they need to figure something to get them in there. Cause it's just nobody, it's nobody really cares about the players.
In a league of load management, nobody wants to risk an injury. Everybody wants their 3-day vacation. And so I don't think that just because it's gone downhill, I miss the good skills competition. I think they should be actually playing that stuff up more. I feel like they've made the dunk competition. They've put all their eggs in that basket. I got news for you. Back in the day, that 3-point contest was freaking awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. Right, but there's guys in the league, who can make it that awesome. I mean, the idea is, what if you could get Steph Curry into a 3-point contest? That's not putting on your body what the dunk contest does. And I know it's ego, and I know nobody wants to lose, but that would be freaking awesome if we could get the league's best 3-point shooters and get some of the names, bring that back. So
getting those big names in. The fact that LeBron never did the dunk contest to me is always something I've kind of held against him. You've had Kobe do it. You have Michael, Dominique, the cream of the crop of the league doing the dunk contest, and this guy, for whatever reason, never did it. So,
okay, well, we were talking before about kind of the seasonal nature of sports. Okay, so are we looking at the same thing at the end of baseball season? Did we see the same thing at the end of football season as we are at the end of the basketball season with, kind of certain players going up, the guys that, now look like MVP favorites. The rookies, that are now kind of sealing off that good year, or the breakout players, that maybe now all season we were hesitant on that looked like the real deal. Is that cyclical for every sport, or is it just because it's this dead time? What do you guys think?
I think it's cyclical for every sport. You're gonna get those guys that, your buddy Trevor Lawrence, right? He's hot. He's hot right now. We just all of a sudden we forgot about the whole season before. He looks good. That just happens with everybody. J-Rod in baseball, stuff like that. Yeah, I guess we'll see who the NBA guys are here as we approach. But yeah, that's for me. It's cyclical in every sport.
What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I think with sports in general, like the end of the seasons are much more entertaining than the beginning of the seasons. Like, I mean, I don't mean to rag on the Dolphins, but as a Patriots fan, like the Dolphins, they were the talk of the town. They were as good as the Bills. People might have been saying, like, I may have made that up, but like I'm sure someone said it. But like then they barely made the playoffs and they got blown out by the Bills in the playoffs. So it's like the beginning of the seasons don't. Well,
no, they didn't.
The Bill. Oh well.
Yeah, the Bills barely beat the Dolphins.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're right. And like I said, maybe I made that up. But the point that I think I tried to make there, that I made a fool of myself by not remembering the score of the game, was that the end of the season is much different looking than the beginning of the season. And what you're just going to find in general is that people have more interest in sports when they get closer to the playoffs, and you see sort of the MVPs and all those types of players kind of get more spotlight as we get towards the end of the season. So, and especially like you said, I think both of you guys said it with football, it's like, it's probably the biggest sport in terms of like people watching. Like, and I think sort of people might take a little bit of a break from sports even after NFL is over until like, we get closer to the NBA playoffs, and then, baseball starts coming back and all these sports. Like, it's interesting because like with baseball during the summer, it's really the only sport on. Like there is some soccer, but like for the most part, it's just baseball. But I feel like that doesn't get the same amount of juice as like some of the other sports when there are other sports going on, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Welcome John Keating to the room. Adam, evidently you are the GOAT.
Oh, thank you.
JK with some love there. All right, on the home stretch here, just want to find out, Tony, I think we know what you're doing today, but this coming week, are you guys planning on hitting any shops, breaking anything, making any content for the next week or two? Adam, where can we find you? Talk about Heroes for Sale and where people can find you and what you're doing there.
Yeah, it's gonna be the way that my name is spelled out here. It's mostly on TikTok nowadays, like some Twitter, but like if you're following me on Twitter, you know that I'll just tweet out random stuff like Call of Duty stuff. Just because I'm interested in there's a professional league for Call of Duty, so I follow that pretty closely.
Guys, unfollow Adam. Sorry, guys.
Well, actually, Boston. That's the team. I'm wearing the shirt right now because they're playing later at like 1:00. So, but either way, so Heroes for Sale kind of all throughout social media, but TikTok more specifically because that's where I'm creating most of the content that I'm creating.
And Tony, where can we find you in the Wolf Pack and you and Oz and you're everywhere? Where can we find you?
Yeah, just on Instagram at @cousins_collectibles. We drop our podcasts on Monday and Fridays. Friday is the YouTube live that we do on Thursday night. So kind of do a little hangout like we do here. So, we definitely have a lot of fun with that. And dude, that's kind of cool. The professional Call of Duty stuff.
I know. You don't understand. My boys turned 12 this week. They literally just got permission to have Call of Duty for the first time. Nice. I have not seen them the rest of the week. So, I don't know if that makes us good parents or bad parents.
Yeah.
Just a great show, everyone. Thank you very much. You can find me at Goodwill picking up 2023 series cards. You know what? That's not far off. There are pallets occasionally that end up for sale of lots from Goodwill. That's a little secret. Great show. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I think that's true to everybody. I hope a safe, happy, healthy one. I think Series 1 marks the start of spring for the hobby. So for everybody in the hobby, happy spring. And on that note, Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
There it is.